One sec.
All right.
Guys, you're going to see this notification saying that recording has started. I want you to press yes, and we're good to start. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to that time of the day where we get people whom we all look up to. Let's say, whatever the platform it might be, but these are the people that we look up to. And I personally genuinely feel fascinated by the type of things and content, and let's say, the products that these people are building. And today, we have Gaurav. Gaurav is a co-founder of Stratzy. And to simply sum up what Stratzy does, investing like rich too. So, well, let's get started. Gaurav, the stage is all yours.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining. It's super fascinating to talk to young people who are on the verge of starting up or who have this startup kida in them, especially in today's day and time. So to introduce myself, I'm Gaurav. I'm the co-founder and CTO of this startup called Stratzy. We are a fintech startup based out of Mumbai, and what we do is we make investing insanely cool and insanely fun, right? So I'll just start by sharing my screen. And let's see what we have here, right? It's my Postman, my Slack. Okay, can you guys see this?
Yes, it is visible.
Right. Okay. All right. So the talk is around how to start a fintech startup. I'll try and make it more generalized about how to start a tech startup, because a lot of you won't want to specifically go into fintech. There might be different problems that you would be passionate about, and that's why let's make it a general conversation about how to start a tech startup in today's ecosystem, right? So this is a guide for college students to take a leap into the startup world, and it's primarily an effort from my side to help you take this leap and hopefully give you some solid pointers that would be helpful in getting started with this journey, right? So here's the first question that we have, right? What do you identify as? Do you identify as a mercenary or a missionary, right? So it's very important to understand what these terms mean, and it's very important to ask this to yourself before you get started with something, right? So what is a mercenary and what is a missionary? Mercenaries are people who have a lust for money, and missionary are people who have a lust for meaning, right? And none of them is wrong. Both of them are equally honorable. Both of them are equally cool, right? Mercenary is when you are doing something purely for the money part of it, whereas missionary is where you have a mission behind it, where you want to change the world, you want to change the behavior of a lot of people, right? You have a mission behind what you're doing, right? But having a clarity from the start as to what you are is very important. Even you could be a mercenary in something that you're doing today, a startup that you're running or a business that you're running today, but you might be a missionary later in life for another startup, for another business, right? It's perfectly fine, and this can keep changing. So something like a sustainable business, like say selling secondhand books in your batch, or setting up a food delivery service for your campus, right? This can't be a long term goal, or this can't be a long term mission, but that's something that you can be good at or you can make money out of, right? So these are the mercenary sort of businesses that you can look at. And similarly, let's say you're really good at coding, or you're a really good graphic designer, right? So you are freelancing with a company as a mercenary, correct? So that's when you're being a mercenary. And the other part is when you're working on something that you deeply care about, a problem that is close to your heart and that you want to solve for a huge population. That's when you have a mission behind it, right? So it would be great if some of you could just put it in the chat as to some examples of mercenary and missionary businesses. And I just want to understand if you have understood the concept properly. Anyone, guys? Yes, Elon Musk, he's a missionary, of course. Great answer. Anything else? Any other? Yes, Apple is a very missionary businesses. Most local businesses are mercenary. Agreed. Ratan Tata is a is missionary. Yes, that's a really good example. Someone said cloud kitchen for mercenaries, right? I think you guys have a good hold on the concept of this. So I'll give you a really fun example, which I thought was a mercenary business, but it turned out to be a proper missionary business, right? So back in 2015, when there was the startup boom in India, right? जैसे अभी हो रहा है, now there are a lot of startups getting funded. Now there's Shark Tank. ये जो अभी boom चल रहा है, वैसा ही similar boom था 2015 में, right? When a lot of startups were getting funded, and it was the first time this startup thing was happening in India, right? Back then there was a startup called Lenscart, and I looked at it and I was like, there is no proper mission behind it. These guys are just selling glasses online, and it's purely an e-commerce business. I identified it as a purely mercenary business, right? And now, when the Shark Tank thing happened, Piyush Bansal came on the show and he sort of explained the mission behind the entire thing, right? And that's when I was taken aback looking at the sort of mission he has behind it, right? So sometimes you might think that something is a very mercenary business, but it turns out to be a missionary. It turns out to be a big mission behind it, right? So these are some cool things that you can look around you and you can identify. And of course, the important thing is to identify what you want to do right now. Do you want to do a mercenary business, or do you want to follow a big mission, right? So this is something that I strongly believe in, right? Freelancing is a first step towards entrepreneurship. This is something that I've tweeted. This is something that I endorse a lot. It's because I started off as a freelancer, and it has helped me insanely in terms of the skills that I've grown, and in terms of the entrepreneurial capabilities that I have been able to build because of freelancing, right? So, what does freelancing teach you? It teaches you dealing with a client or a customer. It teaches you understanding the finances, pricing your services right, marketing yourself. Basically, you learn how to sell yourself as a product, right? If you paid attention to the things I mentioned, it is everything that you'll be doing in a startup, right? Basically, you'll be facing a lot of customers. You'll be understanding finances. You'll be pricing your services, and you'll be marketing it, right? So that everything is covered in freelancing. So, and these are things that will be beneficial for you when you actually start up, when you are convincing to an investor to invest in me, right? When you are convincing a client to give you money for the services that you're offering, right? All of these things that you learn during freelancing will come back to you when you're actually starting up, right? So freelancing is definitely the first step towards entrepreneurship, and everyone should attempt doing it, right? Even if you're doing it for free in the starting, right? Let's say you're really passionate about coding, and you just bug these founders on LinkedIn saying कि यार मेरे को free में internship दे दो. I remember I did this in my second year. I took out a list of all the Bixian people who are engineering managers and all in the industry. I messaged them all saying कि I'm also a fellow Bixian. I'm the second year student, and give me an internship, right? And they took a test, and I was good enough, and the HR calls me and she says that you'll be getting a stipend of 30,000. In my head, I'm thinking I'm going to get paid for this. I had no idea that I could be getting paid for something that I was going to do for learning, right? So you never know. You have to start doing things, and it will obviously teach you a lot, right? So I know a lot of my friends who started doing freelancing and then ended up paying their own fees with it, right? With the money that they were making. So it's a very powerful tool. And I think everyone should start doing it in some form or some way at least. So here's the first step of your journey, right? There's a very famous Y Combinator quote. If you know what Y Combinator is, it's basically a Silicon Valley based accelerator program. Airbnb and all the big startups have come out of it, right? So they have this quote saying, build something that people want. And it's not as easy as it sounds. Trust me, it's difficult to build something that people want. So that's why I'm just simplifying it for you. I'm telling you, just build something. That's your first step, right? And don't think a lot, don't overthink it, just start building something, right? Don't think about how many people will use it, how do I launch it, where do I advertise it, how many AWS servers I should buy. All these are non-coincidental things that you end up with. Use your service or use your product on day one. 99.59% of the times, no one will turn up on the first day of your big launch. We are not Kunal Shah where we launch Cred and on day one we have 50,000 downloads. That's not going to happen, right? So don't worry about anything. Don't worry about putting things out there. Just get started. And that's the most important thing, right? The important thing is to just start building something. And especially in today's day and time, guys, you could be building anything. You could be building a website, you could be building an app, a Google form, a Discord server, a YouTube channel, Insta account, Telegram group. There, we have endless options today, or a podcast, lots of options that you could just get started with. So, of course, the first step always remains on getting started and building it, right? So, to give you guys an example of to just get started, I'll tell you what my first startup stint was, right? So, me and my best friend from school in the first year of my college started something called Meagle. Okay. So, it was a meme sharing website where we thought that college students will come and they'll share memes and they'll like them, they'll comment on them. And we were solving for edge cases like what if there are 10,000 likes? Will we be able to fit it in that small space? And all of these were things that never happened. 10,000 people did not show up on that website, but we still uh, ended up building and solving so much for it. But that's the thing. There's a lot of fun around building things, and I learned so much from just that one startup slash project that we did that it was just crazy, right? So maybe you guys can tell me things that you have built, right? Things that you have built as small as maybe a web page or a blog, or as big as a full blown app, or I don't know, Web3 protocol. So why don't you just tell me in the chat things that you have built that you are proud of? Oof. Calmly.life. What is it about, Sid? Just give me a one-liner explanation. AR filters, that's super cool. That's actually super cool. A YouTube video. Awesome. What is Ye Theka? This sounds good. Oh, agri-tech app for farmers and sellers, Krishi Tech, portfolio management. Superb, guys. Calmly.live is relaxing and productive sounds. Oh, I'm definitely using this. That's awesome, man. Tourev is a tourism revolution. Man, BlueLearn has crazy entrepreneurs, yeah, in their community. Crypto mutual fund. Ritanshu, do email me after this. I would love to know more about this. Yeah, Sid, I'm going to use your calmly.life because I keep using these YouTube videos for relaxing productive sounds. Awesome, guys. Great knowing all this. So I think a bunch of you have done a lot of things, and the ones who have not started, just start with something. I assure you that it's going to be a lot of fun, and I assure you it's going to be a lot more stress free than it is now for me, right? Because you're building something and you're just having fun building it, and you're learning a bunch of things, right? So yeah, that is a great first step. Then the next step is building a fun team, right? I would recommend uh, get along with your best friend, get with your gang, and start building with them, because most of the times, if things work out, right, if you guys become huge, you are going to stay together for a long time, right? If let's say you're building a long-term resilient business, which is going to be 10, 15 years long, then you have to have those sort of people who you can tolerate for that long, right? So I mean, don't stress too much about it. Just get on with your friends, have a brainstorming session, and see if things are aligning for you guys. And if things are, just go ahead and get started with it, right? Uh, I have tons of great memories of working with my team. We go for football sessions every weekend. We go to tourist spots and we do a lot of fun things. We play FIFA together. So apart from all the stress of building things, or the month on month growth and all of these things, having fun is also one of the most important aspect of things, right? In big companies, you must have heard the word culture, right? So the culture that they are trying to build is something that is, they're trying to make all their employees friends, they're trying to make all their employees a family. But when you're a small team, you can just do it organically. You can just choose people that you would like to build things with, right? So this is a very important step. So building something is obviously worth all the incidental memories. This is me and my friends. We are working on Stratzy, which was known as Albocard back then. This is my room, and this is a picture taken, I think, 6 or 7 in the morning, and we have stayed up all night writing code, deploying the website or something like that. And you can see that there's a whiteboard in the background where we used to do a lot of brainstorming. And this chair that my team member Samarjit is sitting on, we used to call this deployment chair. Okay, so whenever we were deploying a new feature, he used to sit on that chair and only then deploy it because we thought it was lucky for us or something. This is Mohit, my co-founder, who is making sure that Samarjit is writing good code, and this is me. I don't know doing what. So yeah, when you're building, you create a lot of these memories where, I mean, your friends are going to college. They are worried about acads. They're worried about placements. But in your head, you think that you're changing the world, or building some huge business, right? So it's always fun to do this. And this is what I would tell you guys: just take the leap and start building it with your friends, right? And then after all the things that I told you, one thing that comes up is, what if it doesn't work out, right? What if all the things that you build, no one's using it, right? And what if things don't work out between the founders? Tens of things that could go wrong, right? What if it doesn't work out? So basically, one thing that I would like to point out is, even if it doesn't work out, you have got irreplaceable skills now, right? You have these really specific, great skills that none of your peers actually have. I was after after the after my first startup failed, right? I got tons of great freelance internships for startups that are based out of Silicon Valley, right? So I was making US dollars sitting in India. And even if the startup didn't work out, I was making good money, and I was sure to get better job offers than most of my peers who were studying a lot. So even if it doesn't work out, remember that you are building skills that are in super demand today, right? If you are a coder, obviously you're going to get hired by some cutting edge startup. If you are a graphic designer, if you're a person that makes memes, you can be a great asset to some of the marketing teams out there. If you're a great video creator, a big company might just make you the face of their YouTube channel, right? So the options are endless. Even if things don't work out, remember that you have created irreplaceable skills for yourself. Remember that you have learned how to sell yourself. Remember that you have learned how the markets work, and what is it that the market rewards, and what is it that it doesn't. So this is a very important thing to note, that you're actually building a really solid plan B even if it doesn't work out. So these are things that I just wanted to share from my side. And I think it would be great if we could take some of the questions now, and discuss more on what is going on in your minds about the things that I shared.
Sure. Do you want to do it from the chat box, or do you want me to get them on call?
Just a second, bro.
Guys, go ahead with your questions.
Yeah. How can I find a
Okay,
co-founder?
how can I find? Okay, but you want me to read or how do you want to do it?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I saw the first question, so I'll go ahead with that.
All right.
How can I find a co-founder who's just as passionate as me, right? So what you actually want to look for is complementary skill sets, right? So if you're good at tech and if he's good at business, if you're good at marketing and he's good at, uh, you know, uh, getting B2B deals or something like that, you have to first find out you have to first ensure that there is a complementary skill set at play. And then once you have that person, you can brainstorm with them as to what is it that they are passionate about, and you can tell them what is it that you are passionate about, and you guys can get together and discuss what idea makes more sense, what idea is it that both of you would love to build for, right? So I think that is how it should work, because if both of you are techies, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. Both of you are just building a tech team. If both of you are marketers, it wouldn't make sense because there wouldn't be anything to market, right? So make sure first step is to find someone who complements your skills, and then you can do tons of brainstorming session with them as to what is it that they want. For example, I had become really good at tech at the end of my second and third year. So almost every startup founder from our college used to approach me to become to sort of become their technical co-founder, right? So that is something that you can build for, and it's also about convincing, right? So let's say you're really passionate about something and you need a particular skill set, then you have to go and seek out that person, and you have to convince them to get on board. You have to make sure that they are equally into it as you are, right? Here, I think we can go on to the next question, Chandu.
Sure. It is something like this. I'm not able to be consistent with something. Can you guide me upon this?
That's a that's a very difficult problem to tackle, and it's a very subjective thing, because especially in entrepreneurship, it's it's an emotional roller coaster, right? If whatever things that you guys are, and it never ends, right? Whatever things that you're facing today, it's only going to get bigger and bigger. So you have to develop your own mechanisms as to how do you build consistency around it. You have to make sure that if you're not feeling very productive today, maybe you can do some lighter things. Maybe you can delegate, or you can just drink coffee and brainstorm, right? So you have to make sure what is it that works for you. Not every day is going to be 100% productive, but you have to make sure that the week ka average or the month ka average is good enough.
Okay, so there's another question. What if, let's say, I've already built an app, and how to get traction for it? How to get initial number of downloads?
The initial set of customers that you guys will get would be recruited by you. Okay, so the first step is to recruit users, right? If you're building an agri-tech app, you have to go and speak to farmers, and you have to, if it's a farmer focused app, you have to convince them to get onto the app, right? So the first set of customers, you have to recruit them as you recruit your employees, right? So that is a very important thing. You have to recruit them, and you have to find PMF along with them, right? Basically, let's say you convince one person to get onto your app, उसके साथ वीडियो कॉल पे आओ, उसको बोलो कि मुझे साइन अप करके दिखाओ, right? Then you'll see कि he's not even able to sign up because you have placed the button in a different way, or you've used the wrong colors. You tell him to do one transaction on your app and see if how easy is it that he's finding it, right? When you actually look at users doing things, that's when you will realize. So yeah, obviously, first set of customers you recruit, and you sit with them and you improve the app.
Okay. Is there a middle person in the startup who is neither good at tech or at marketing, but still gets his way into insights and brainstorm?
I mean, running a startup is all about being a generalist, right? It's all about being able to think on your feet and being able to firefight. I'm not the best coder or not the best programmer, and Mohit is not like the best finance person out there, but we have a knack for being a generalist, right? Understanding things fast and delegating it to the best people that we have in the team, right? So it's not always about, but you have to have some sort of skill sets that you can build upon, right? If you are good at digital marketing and then you are able to build a digital marketing team under you, that's what's important, right?
Gaurav, a person called Ritik from the audience want to ask the question in person.
Sure, sure.
Or yeah, go ahead.
Hi Gaurav, how are you?
Hey, hi, Ritik.
I was just amazed, like I see your web app, and I also talked to Mohit at earlier BlueLearn webinar. So
Yeah.
I just want to ask, like you have started last year, right? And you get funded. Maybe it's an overwhelming situation for you as well when you are starting and thinking. Currently, I also want to start my business and start up what we can say, but I'm not clear where I can start, on which problem I will focus. So how you identify clearly that we want to do this, and how you convince the investors without even creating revenue, means in a pre-seed round, how you convince them? And it's an overwhelming to you as well as when you're starting. So how you do that, means I just want to know.
Yeah, definitely, man. So basically, we actually started 3 years back in my third year, right? And we have been pivoting. Matlab, you don't get it right in the first time, right? The first time we built things, it wasn't working out. We kept kept pivoting. You have to pivot till you find a market that's big enough. So VCs want to fund a startup that has a big TAM, total addressable market, right? तो अगर VC फंडिंग वाले रूट में जा रहे हो तो तुम्हें बड़ा टैम चाहिए, राइट? एंड इफ यू आर बिल्डिंग योर ओन बिजनेस तो तुम्हें प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी चाहिए डे वन से, राइट? तो पहले तो यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज इट दैट यू वांट टू डू. एक बड़ा VC फंडेबल बिजनेस बनाना है या पहले यू वांट टू ट्राई आउट अ बिजनेस, राइट? अ सस्टेनेबल बिजनेस. Because I know my friends started who started a coaching startup, right? And they were taking fees from day one. They were making good money. Investors approached them, said, "Ki we want to invest in this," but they understood that it's not that big of a business as well. So they stopped that, even though it was a revenue generating business. And then now they have started working on a problem that has a big TAM, right? So you can always do that as well, where you first try your hands at a smaller business and then go for a startup, right?
Okay, so maybe like if we know that business is profitable from day one, we are assured that yeah, I get some money, or we can build something. But even if like a Zomato, we don't know whether it get profitable on day or not. So how you see, like because before having any result on hand, just hoping for it to come, is it worth, like just believing that it will happen? Maybe that will not.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Zomato is they have built such a huge distribution, right? कल को वो delivery charge पे ₹5 extra लेना शुरू कर देंगे, right? They'll be making hundreds of crores of revenue more, right? So that's the power that they have built. Now they're keeping it low because they have to first build a habit, right? Similarly, जो easily replicable businesses होता है, they are always profitable, right? अगर कल को तुम दुकान चालू कर रहे हो एक a general store, right? You know it's going to be a profitable business, right? So that's the difference. You can be profitable from day one, or you could be profitable 10 years down the lines, but your profits would be thousands of crores, right? So either of the play is valid.
Okay. Great, Gaurav. Thank you for sharing all this.
Great.
And last one thing I want to know, what is the biggest strength of founder or any entrepreneur? Means apart from the technical skills, what is the biggest thing an entrepreneur have in them, who made them entrepreneur apart from a job doer or someone?
Resilience. You have to be resilient. You have to be perseverant. क्योंकि a lot of bad things happen. A lot of things don't go your way. They don't go the way you thought. तुम कितना भी plan कर लो कुछ और हो जाता है, right? So you have to be resilient through this journey, nothing else.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this. I'd love to connect with you on any social media.
Definitely.
Please let me know. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot, man. Yeah.
Okay, so next up. Okay, so how do I find people with similar interest? I'm working alone in a startup and having difficulty to find people. So this is something a lot of people go through. And how would you answer that?
BlueLearn's a great way to find people with similar interests. And why I'm saying this is because we were lucky in our college to have clubs, right? So we had this Wall Street club where people who were interested in finance got together. That's where I met my co-founder, right? So if your college or if your school doesn't have clubs where people of similar interests are getting together, you can obviously have things like BlueLearn where you have this virtual community of people who are interested in similar things, right? For example, take this talk. Now the 100 people who are there attending this are obviously interested in startup. They have the buzz in them to create something, right? So this is how you meet people of similar interest.
Okay. So people are curious about the Wall Street Club.
Uh-huh. So Wall Street Club was a peculiarly interesting club of our campus where we used to get hundreds of people for induction, right? More people than any other club because everyone wants to, learn how to make money in the stock market in a way. And it was obviously a very famous club where what used to happen was lectures होते थे. We used to teach juniors what finance is and how to go about it. And we also had some live trading sessions sometime where people used to get together during market hours and trade in the library or in a room or something like that. So yeah, that was what it was mostly about. I think I saw bootstrapping versus funding.
Yes, you can go ahead with that.
Yeah, I'll take that up. So again, bootstrapping versus funding is a very interesting question. Uh, see, it depends on what you are building and how fast you want to build it, right? In today's time, we have this. We are lucky enough to have something like venture capital around us, where it speeds things up, right? So today we have a license. We are SEBI registered. So the SEBI board of India is saying that we can be in this business, right? This would have normally taken us at least 3 to 4 years, right, after incorporating. But it happened within 6 to 7 months. Why? Because we are venture funded. We had those connections to get that done, right? So as speed of execution increases, a company that could have been built in 10 to 15 years can be built in 3 to 4 years. Swiggy today is a multi-billion-dollar, $10 billion company. It was built in what, 6, 7 years? To build a $10 billion company in India would have taken at least 30 years historically, right? But that's what venture capital does. It speeds up your business. Not that, but there are cons of it. You are giving up control. But great folks in VC today that you would love to partner with. So not an issue. But bootstrapping gives you 100% control of your company, right? So yeah.
Gaurav, so just to inform, we're in the last 5 minutes of the session. So you can go ahead with the way you want to end the session and also take the questions as well.
Sure. So actually, there's a small surprise that I want to give you guys. First of all, thanks for attending the session. I'm really glad that there was so much participation in it. I actually want to gift one of you something really special from Amazon or like wherever. So what you guys have to do is go ahead, download the Stratzy app, and give us a really creative review. Okay. So the most creative one of you, I'm going to reach out to BlueLearn and I'm going to send you something really special, something really cool. Right. So just go ahead and do that. And just try and win this super interesting thing. The app's name is Stratzy. I'll just put it in the chat. Can you just put that in the chat? Because I think I sent a direct message. Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. Anything else? Anything else, Chandan?
I think that's pretty much it. And yes, Saishmita is asking about, can you tell more about the fintech part, the financial side of it? How does it work, and how do we get the users registered into our business, especially getting them to use in their daily lives?
Right. So the fin part of the fintech is a bit tricky, especially when you're young, right? So there are a lot of trust symbols that people look for when they are downloading a fintech app. Basically, we now have a license from SEBI, right? And we are integrated with all these brokers. All of these become our trust symbols. कि हाँ इन्होंने बड़े-बड़े brokers के साथ partnership किया, they have a license, right? So when you're building in fintech, you need all these trust symbols and you need some expertise. So because of the funding, we were able to go ahead and hire some people who are really experienced in the market, and we are building the fin part of the app with their help, right? So experience is also something that is really important in the fintech industry. Startup should be tech centric or customer centric if we have to choose one. Always be customer centric. Use tech to solve for the customer problems. We have internally built a really strong admin dashboard जहाँ पे whatever user is facing some issue हमें तुरंत दिख जाता है. We call up that user, we try to solve that problem. So use tech to leverage everything in life. Use tech to automate daily tasks. Use tech to solve user problems. Use tech to solve different UX problems and stuff like that. So tech is pervasive, it's everywhere. So just try and leverage it for everything you do. Should I spend money on paid ads after finding product market fit? That's a very interesting question. That's a very chicken and egg problem. जब तक users नहीं होंगे, you wouldn't know how to reach PMF. ठीक है? तो PMF का फंडा ये होता है that you have to keep talking to users. You need to find out उनको क्या चाहिए. ठीक है? If the things are smooth enough for them, right? तो कुछ level of paid marketing करनी पड़ेगी to sort of get users. Test out PMF on them. Keep tracking your PMF metrics. What are your PMF metrics? Is it retention, week on week retention? कितने लोग बार-बार app पे आ रहे हैं, right? That's a retention metric. Week on week, month on month retention. How many people are converting? How many people are getting activated, right? All of these things you have to make sure and solve for when you're building for PMF. So paid marketing थोड़ा करो, बहुत ज़्यादा मत करो before PMF. Once you've hit PMF, go through the roof. Spend as much as you can.
Gaurav, so before you end, would you want to say something?
I would want to say that most of you are like in the very early stages of starting up. So go ahead and move fast, break things, as they say, right? Build a lot of things and be fast. Don't be slow. Don't overthink on things. Just keep building and keep pivoting till you have found what is it that is clicking everywhere. Is clicking the market. Is clicking with the VCs. Is clicking for you yourself as a long-term mission. So yeah, I think these are the important things to note.
Awesome. Gaurav, I must say, this is one of those very, very, very interactive sessions that I have seen organizing. And I love the way you answer and the passion that you take on every single question that they pull out. And really appreciate your work, Gaurav. And looking forward to have you in many more sessions like this. And okay, guys, do you want Gaurav in many more sessions? If you want, put number 2 in the chat.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot.
Well, you know the rules of the game. go to the app on the Play Store or the App Store. It's on the Play Store, right?
Yeah, it's on the Play Store, on the App Store as well. And remember, guys, you have to be creative, okay? I don't want things like best app or best investment app. You have to be creative with that, right? And the most creative one, if there are three most creative, I'm happy to give out three gifts. But looking forward to see what you guys come up with.
So yeah, looking forward to those creative answers as well. And thanks a lot, Gaurav. Thanks for coming. And it has been a beautiful session, and I must say, thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, everyone.
And at the end of the day, right now you're at BlueLearn, India's largest student community with more than 60,000 people on this very platform. And to talk more about it, and a lot of people have been asking, is there a platform where we can get together and discuss? And the answer for that is the Discord server by itself. So if you scroll through the channels, you can find a startup section where that is exactly what you're looking for. And there is co-founder dating as well, where you can find the people that you're looking forward to meet. And well, this is just the beginning, and there's a lot more coming. My name is Chandan Perla, and along with me, thanks a lot, Gaurav, and thanks to BlueLearn team and to get this sorted. And see you again in the next one. Thank you all.